Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chamasiros. So I have a lot to talk about today on the show. You know, if you ever wanted to find out how bad of shape America truly is, how we have been infiltrated, how we have been infiltrated at the highest levels of government, how President Trump and Mike Huckabee and the rest of this clown show called the Trump administration is letting Israel just take total control of our government and bringing us into endless wars. If you really wanted to just confirm all this information, all you really needed to do was watch the Mike Huckabee interview with Tucker Carlson. And Mike Huckabee comes out and he says it. He says, Israel deserves to take over the entire Middle East. Those were his words. And then he catches himself and then he tries to backtrack a little bit. But the problem is the cat is out of the bag. He's not lying. He didn't misspeak. He's letting you know exactly what Benjamin Netanyahu, because Benjamin Netanyahu is President Trump's boss. You could say whatever you want. See, no matter what Iran comes up with, no matter what Iran agrees with the United States of America and President Trump, no matter what they agree to, it's not just going to end with Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu, if Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu were going to make a play to take over the entire Middle East, they're going to do that right now. They're going to make that play right now. And they know that because in their own words, what do they say? That President Trump is the first Jewish president ever. That's what they say. That he's the most pro-Zionist, pro-Israel president in the history of the world. So if you were going to make a play to take over the entire Middle East, if you were Israel, if you were Benjamin Netanyahu, and you're playing chess, if I'm Benjamin Netanyahu, I'm saying to myself, well, the American public is not showing us the same support anymore. So if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to conquer the Middle East, I have to do it while President Trump is the president of the United States of America. And President Trump, you absolutely make me sick at this point. You are just, let me try to fix my table here. You are just an absolute disgrace. I keep saying this over and over again. You're old, you're corrupt, you're weak, you don't have a backbone at all. And remember when Max Blumenthal, a couple months ago, he was on the Tim Dillon show, and he said the reason why President Trump is doing everything that Benjamin Netanyahu wants and Israel wants is because he's afraid for his life. That President Trump believes that the Israeli government was behind his assassination attempts. That's what Max Blumenthal said. Now, if I'm President Trump and somebody tries to make an attempt on my life, and I get intelligence back from my intel, from my military, from my Secret Service, that Israel was behind my assassination attempt, do you think for 1 second they're going to have me in their back pocket, that I'm going to be afraid and do whatever the hell they say? See, all that tough talk from Trump, that's all it was. He's just a blowhard. He's like blowhard Bongino, just a blowhard. That's all they do is talk, 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 yap, yap, yap. That's all they do. Is I know one thing. If you tried to take my life, I'm not doing whatever you say. Matter of fact, if I found out that Israel was behind my assassination attempt and I'm president of the United States of America, I'm bombing the hell out of them. I'm making an example out of them. What did President Trump do? He just gets in line. Okay, daddy. Okay, I don't want to insult my pimp. Let me bomb whoever you want me to bomb. I'll bomb it because I don't want to lose my life. I mean, you're 84 years old. Didn't we hire you? Didn't we elect you to shake things up? Didn't we vote for you to dump Washington on its head? And if that means you had to give up your life to do so, then that's what you do. And you're going to say, I know, I'm going to get this in the comments section. You're a blowhard. You're talking that tough guy stuff behind a computer. Well, I'm sure there's some type of, AI that can detect if I'm lying. that you could scan my retinas. We have all this technology now when you could tell if somebody's lying. Like they give it a scale between 70% and 100% if the person's lying. Like they do some type of scale. I don't know how they do it, but that's what they do now. So scan me and see if this is a lie. Scan me and see if this is bullshit. Because I know one thing. If that murdering psychopath, fake Jewish person named Benjamin Netanyahu, and that's what he is because he's not even a real Jewish, he's not an Israelite. He's from Europe. He's Polish. The whole name is it's a fraud. He's a fugazi. We all know that. If that piece of garbage ever tried to take my life and I found out about it, I'm bombing the hell out of Israel. And I'm starting at his house first. So this putz, this weasel, this worm, he strolls up into the White House. I want you to picture this. President Trump knows in the back of his mind that Benjamin Netanyahu in Israel is behind his assassination attempts. Because I always said this and I always feel this way. Before the Epstein file things, the files got out of control, before Trump was elected, I believe that Trump was going to let the files out. And I think that Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government and Mossad, they knew he was serious. And then once they tried to make an attempt on his life, that whole, he changed his tune. He wasn't going to release it. But my point being is this. If they try to take my life, I'm going at them. I'm doubling down. I'm tripling down. I'm going full bunker. You want to go to war with me? No problem. You don't just get in line. So after that happens with the assassination attempt, Benjamin Netanyahu, he'll just stroll into the White House, kick his feet up on the desk and tell Trump, you're going to do this. You're going to do that. You're going to do what I say. And if you don't, I'll just have the media call you anti-Semitic and try to take your life. It sounds familiar? Because that's all they do. It's anti-Semitic. You're an anti-Semite. If you don't do everything that Benjamin Netanyahu wants and everything that Israel wants, you're an anti-Semite. And during this Tucker interview, this is always the go-to. This is always the play. Mike Huckabee, first of all, let's get to what his daughter said. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she's like, my father is a brave man. He's a brave American. He takes all questions. He's brave. I hope you see this, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, you little inbred. Your father is a fat, old, weak, corrupt bag of shit. That's what he is. And you wonder why the entire Arab world hates the United States of America. I truly get it now. I really do. Now, that doesn't mean when you get relocated into America because we're bombing your homelands on the behalf of Israel, that I'm just going to let you dominate me and, take control. And I'm just going to lay by idly and say, oh, I hate my own skin. Oh, look what we did to these poor Muslims. So I'm just going to let them run wild in America. No, listen, I understand why you don't like us. I truly do. I really get it. I understand why you don't like us. I understand why you're like, you know what? If we were relocated in America against our will, you are going to feel our wrath. And I get it. I really do. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't fight you tooth and nail. So let's not get it confused. Just because I understand just because I'm willing to put myself in your shoes, doesn't mean I'm going to, allow Israel to make me just be pat, because we're doing this for Israel. We're bombing these people's homelands for Israel. And then Israel says, well, these Arabs and these Muslims, they can't live with us. So we got to relocate them to America and Europe. And then they're angry that they're there and they want to bring Sharia and they want to do this to you and they want to do that to you. And they don't want you to own dogs. And we'll get into ZOHRAN MAMDANI and his group not wanting people in New York to own dogs, his administration. I'm sorry. But I get it. I really do. I understand why at this point the entire Arab world hates the United States of America, because the only bully in all of this, the only psychopaths, the only terrorists, the only murderers are the Israeli government and Benjamin Netanyahu. They keep hiding behind, If you're an anti-Zionist, that means you don't want us to exist. That's the go-to. Oh, if you're against Zionism, they just change. What they do is they move the goalposts. They, you know, they change the definition of what that actually means. And Zionism means Israel. I'll make it short and sweet. Zionism means Israel before everything. Israel number one and everybody else after that. That's what Zionism means. It doesn't mean you don't want Israel to exist or you don't want their people to exist. That's just total bullshit. And that's what they all hide behind. Oh, if you're against Zionism, that means you don't want Jews to exist. You want us to be wiped off the planet. You want Israel to be wiped off the planet. That's what you want. No, that's not what that means. Being an anti-Zionist means you want to put America first, that you don't want Israel to be first. And that's all they hide behind. Mike Huckabee, he does a great job too. He uses the same go-to. He uses the same playbook with Tucker. And I loved how Tucker pressed him. Tucker was like, well, do you feel like that all people have the right to exist? And Mike Huckabee could kind of feel what Tucker's trying to get him to say, like, okay, well, Palestinians have the right to exist also. That's what Tucker was trying to do. He was trying to get him to say it, but he wouldn't. He would not say that. He just kept gaslighting and lying and just being the pathetic pile of shit that he truly. Mike Huckabee is a pile of shit. I can't describe him any other way. And of course, the Trump administration is trying to fix all the. Dude, it's over. It's over. We know what it is already. You can't fix this. The only way Trump could fix any of this, the only way Trump can fix his entire presidency is to go on national TV and be like, look, I was letting my donors get the best of me. I wasn't putting America first. He'd have to show some humility, which I don't think is in his DNA. I don't think it's possible. And he would have to reverse course immediately and say, we're not attacking Iran. We're not attacking anybody. We're going to fix the issues that we have in our country, starting with our border and 55 million illegals. And I don't want to go too far off topic here because I'm zigging and zagging. But I was watching the news today. It said in the state of New Jersey that there's 900,000 illegals and that it costs the state $9 billion a year. Well, who do you think's paying for those 900,000 illegals? The taxpayer. It costs the taxpayers $1,500 per resident every single year to pay for these 900,000 illegals. That was on the news. And you don't think that's a problem? That means that you hate illegals because you can't survive in your own state because you're paying for all their garbage. So President Trump, he could fix this. He could save his presidency. He could get on TV and say, you know what? I've been acting like a fool for a while. I've been putting other countries before America. And I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to do it anymore. We're not attacking Iran. But we all know that's not going to happen. Trump's going to attack Iran and he's not going to stop there. And Benjamin Netanyahu the other day, he comes out and he says, Israel fights for itself. Israel funds itself in everything we do. Really? Israel fights for itself? So outside Iran right now, those ships that are out there, our Navy, the United States Navy, those are Israeli warships? Do you even have a Navy? I don't know. I would doubt it. You're fighting this war yourself? There's going to be IDF troops in this war? Is that what you're telling us, Benjamin Netanyahu? I can't stand him. I just can't. His arrogance. He's not even Jewish. He's Polish. It's just they're masquerading as Jewish people. And I love how Tucker, I don't know if you know this, but in Israel, it's illegal to get DNA tests. It's illegal to do DNA, whatever, ancestry. You know why? Because 98% of the European Jewish people that live there, they have no bloodline to that land. They have no ancestry to that land. They're all from Europe. And Palestinians, if you took their blood, they would be the original inhabitants of that land. So what does Benjamin Netanyahu do, Mr. Freedom Fighter? Mr. America's greatest ally? He does it. Getting a DNA test in Israel is against the law and you go right to prison. Why is that? What are you hiding, Benjamin Netanyahu? What are you hiding? because the charade and the masquerade would come to an end. You know, I was driving in the car and I'm listening to the interview between Tucker and Huckabee, and I got to be quite honest. It's not that I didn't know what Huckabee was about. You know, he's the ambassador of, you know, he should be the ambassador for Israel. That's what he should be. But anyway, he's the ambassador between America and Israel, whatever. He's a Zionist. He works for Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government. He's a mouthpiece for them. He's a shill. And I was really like not shaken. I don't want to be dramatic. Like I was shaken, but I started to think about my faith and my belief in God and everything I've been taught. And it had me, I'm trying to think of the word. It had me rattled. It had me rattled. That's the word I'm going to use. It has me rattled. You know, because I don't like to see cruelness. I don't believe, you know, when they talk about slavery, you know, doing stuff to people just for profit. That's not what I'm about at all. You know, I want people to live their lives and be free and be creative. And what you see going on in Gaza, what Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government is doing to these Palestinians, I used to say, I really want to wash my hands of the entire Middle East, right? I really do. I'm sick of both groups. I'm sick of both groups. And I don't want to go too far off track, but let me finish it. The more power that both of these groups get in America, whether it's the Zionists or the Muslims, the worse our country becomes. Now, right now, our country is controlled by Israel. It's undeniable. And you see the chaos in our country. And then you have the other group that you're relocating to this country because you're bombing their homelands in Muslims. And you see the problems that we have in Manhattan now. You see ZOHRAN MAMDANI, they're closing down Times Square so the Muslims can pray. That's a show of dominance. That's to show you we're here. It's going to be our way or the highway. And if you don't like it, there's going to be hell to pay. After they blew up the World Trade Center, they put a mosque across the street. What do you call that? That's called dominance. We're showing you we're going to dominate you. That's what it is. And then you have the ZOHRAN MAMDANI administration, and they come out and they say, you have people in this administration saying they want to ban dogs from people in Manhattan from owning dogs. Well, let me here. You're gonna say you're doing your tough guy stuff again. You're doing your talk. You're hiding behind a computer. ZOHRAN, hopefully somebody in your administration sees this. I'll tell you what. When you start that process of getting rid of people's dogs, I'm gonna give you my address. Have your people get in my inbox. And you could start at my house and we could see how that goes for you. We could see how it goes because there seems to be this new narrative online on YouTube that people are pushing like Muslims are not the problem or like Muslims are not your enemies. Also, really, are you forgetting ZOHRAN MAMDANI, what he said in New York, that he wants to only tax white neighborhoods to pay for everybody else's stuff, that he wants to get rid of dogs, that they want to get rid of liquor and bacon, and they want to make New York City like their homelands. See, it's not that you're a Muslim. I don't care what God you worship is none of my business. Just like Jewish people, however you feel about Jesus, the measly carpenter, you think I'm a goyim, you think I'm low class, you think I don't. That's your opinion. You're entitled to it. I really don't care, honestly. But I start having a problem with people when you want to take your way of life and force it on me. And ZOHRAN, the all for stands tough guy. We all know it. You're a spineless coward worm. You're a weasel. You're a mutt. And the big stir online is, oh, these Americans would take a dog over a Muslim. That's how they word it. So because you want to keep your pet and you want to keep your dog, that means you think that dogs' lives are more important than Muslims. That's the way they're trying to spin it. You know, the political correctness, of course, the woke DEI garbage. That's what you're getting from the ZOHRAN administration. Well, let me tell you something, ZOHRAN. If it was between you or my dogs, I would take my dogs every single time. And whatever that makes me, it makes me. And I'll say this one more time before I move on. ZOHRAN, if you want to start the process with removal of pets, removal of dogs, I beg you, start at my house. We'll see how it goes. We really will see how it goes for you. So, you got Huckabee, and Huckabee, he sits down in this interview, and the DNA test, the right to exist. Give me a minute. Let me catch up because I got off track a little bit. Oh, then Huckabee, Tucker confronts him, and he's talking about Ireland, and he's talking about Rome, and he's talking about Germany. You know how the Zionists, because we have to relocate all these Muslims after we bomb their countries and their homelands, they're all getting relocated to Europe. They're going to Ireland, they're going to Rome, they're going to Greece, they're going here, they're going there, and they're not happy. They don't want to be there, and I can't say that I blame them. And what does Huckabee do? What does this scumbag do? He puts on the blinders and he's like, "Oh, I don't really keep up with that. I don't know anything about it. What are you talking about, Tucker?" Then Tucker asks him about the Epstein files. He asks him about the Epstein files, and he gives him the same response. "Oh, I'm not really caught up to that. I don't really know what's going on. You know, that's not my thing. I'm really not involved." This is who we have leading our government. Some another lump of shit like a Ted Cruz. He took $1,500,000 from AIPAC, and now they own him. Benjamin Netanyahu and all his buddies, his corrupt, demonic, murderous friends, they must just laugh themselves to sleep. Like, man, these Americans, they're so cheap. They come so cheap. All we had to give Sloppy Ted was $1.5 million. That's like, I got that in my sock drawer. And these politicians, even Trump, he got $250 million for his campaign from Miriam Adelson, and he sold the entire country out. Meanwhile, he's a billionaire. So for a couple million, whatever, they get endless funds. They get billions of dollars. They get to use our military. They get to conquer the Middle East. And Mike Huckabee lets it out of the bag, and he says, well, Israel definitely deserves to conquer the Middle East. The Bible guaranteed them that. It doesn't matter if they kill 3 million people, 4 million people, 5 million people. They're entitled to the land. They're entitled to the whole Middle East. And then the scumbag Huckabee, you know what he says? He throws the American military under the bus, and he says, the American military is much more vicious than the IDF. Really, Mike? Well, that's only because Benjamin Netanyahu and the IDF soldiers, they're not man enough to fight their own wars. And our soldiers have been given orders that they have to follow so they can fight for Israel and risk their lives for Israel and lose their lives for Israel. And this fat piece of shit throws the American soldier under the bus. Hey, Mike, do us all a favor. Do everyone in America a favor. Stay in effing Israel where you belong. I'm trying not to curse because I've said too many curses. Stay in Israel where you belong, Huckabee. Do us all a favor, you fat, pathetic pile of slop. This interview is just, it's sickening. So let's go back to my car ride for a minute, and then I'll play the video. I'm driving in the car, and I'm listening to this interview, and it has me rattled. It really did. It's not that I didn't know this or understand what was going on. It just really makes me question everything, my own faith, everything. The Bible. You know, Jesus was Jewish, the king of the Jews. It's like if you were trying to conquer the entire world and you wanted everybody to follow you and put you on this pedestal and you're God's chosen people. And then this book, it tells you who you should be worshiping. And then you see all of these Zionists lying, murdering people, lying, false flags, trying to assassinate President Trump. All of these Zionists, all of their behavior is just, it's murderous, it's criminal, it's psychopathic, and it just has me rattled, man. It has me questioning my own faith. Like, what am I doing? Am I worshiping the right God? It really has me rattled. And I know you can't blame God for humans' evilness or corrupt, because God, the first thing God gave man was freedom of choice to, be what you want to be. But I got to be honest again, listening to this interview, I was rattled. And I really do understand, you know, putting myself in these Palestinian shoes or the Arab world shoes. I could really understand why you hate America. I really do. I understand right now why the entire Arab world hates America, because Israel is the bully, and then they're playing the victim, and then they go get their big brother to kick everybody's ass, and that's exactly what happens. They're the bully. Israel's the bully. Benjamin Netanyahu is the bully. It's just sickening. It really is. It's there's no fixing this, because Trump doesn't have any humility. Trump has zero humility. He could fix it if he chose to fix it, but they're going to keep going down this road. They're going to just keep going down this road, and it's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. And what they're going to keep brainwashing you with is the Christian Judeo relationship and what the Bible says, and that's what they're going to. You know, ERIKA KIRK, she does the fake love letter from Charlie, and when my husband will walk in the house, he would say Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, or whatever, and throw his phone in the drawer. Your husband was Catholic or Christian. He wasn't Jewish. What are you effing talking about? Shabbat Shalom, or yeah. It's like they're trying to push this Christian Judeo relationship, and it's just a total lie, and it's total bullshit. And it's destroying our entire country, and has our entire country in a bad place, and it has every politician in our entire country. It has them, it's corrupting them. It has them in a bad spot. And they're all going for it. They're bought off, or, you know, Trump was bought off, but he's also afraid. They try to take his life, and what did he do? You could hear it in Trump's voice. After this other wacko over the weekend tried to take Trump's life, he's on TV. He's like, you hear it in his voice. He sounds exhausted. He sounds defeated. And he's making a joke out of it. Like, yeah, I don't know how much more time I got, but like he's just like laughing about it. But the tone of his voice, his posture, he's old, he's weak, he's defeated, he's corrupt, he has no humility. And guess what? This is the path. This is all he's going to do. He's not going to take his foot off the gas pedal. Trump is going to try to capture the entire middle. It's all about expanding Israel's borders. Expand Israel's borders as far as they want to go. Whoever gets in the way, they're just going to bulldoze them, take their life. And if you disagree with this course of action, you're an anti-Semite. That means you hate, I hate my Jewish dentist now because I don't agree with this. That's what they'll turn it into. And it's just sickening. It really is sickening. It's sickening on every single level. Think about how many people have been murdered in Palestine because, Israel, there's supposed to be a peace agreement and they just keep doing whatever they want. So I get it. I do. I really do. I was driving and I was rattled and I started putting myself in other people's shoes. And I completely, I started to think to myself, what if a country bombed America? Let's say France bombed America, but they were doing it for Germany or whatever. I'm just giving an example. And then I had to get moved to another country that I didn't want to be in. There was no American football. There was nothing there that I liked. The culture was completely different. I didn't know the language. I didn't understand the customs. I didn't want new customs. I wanted to be in America. Do you know what kind of hatred I would have for you? Do you know how much I would despise you and your country? Especially if my family was murdered and everything around me that I liked was just completely gone. And that's what these people are going through. That's what they're going through. And once again, just because I'm putting myself in your shoes, doesn't mean when you start your bullshit here, doesn't mean I won't fight you tooth and nail. It doesn't mean I won't try to get into politics so I could put a stop to this. And again, I'm sick of both sides. I'm sick of the Zionists and I'm sick of people like ZOHRAN MAMDANI. And I will not apologize at all, ever. The more power that both of these groups get, and you're seeing it, Once again, Israel is running our government under Benjamin Netanyahu, who's running the American government. And you're starting to see Islam take a stronger hold in America because all these people are being relocated here. The more power that both of these groups get, the worse our country becomes. And I mean it. And I'm not apologizing for it. I'm not going to play the whole interview with Tucker and Mike Huckabee because it's too long, but let's see what they had to say.
Us for inviting me. I was grateful to be invited.
Oh, thank you.
I was grateful because I don't like all the name calling. I've engaged in some of it. I want to apologize for that. I
forgot to mention this before it started. Leave it to Tucker. He wants to apologize before it starts. Because, you know, the Zionist Mike Huckabee, who's ready to literally start World War III, he doesn't deserve to be called a couple names. Here, I'll call him a couple names. Coward, slop of shit, Zionist, weak, pathetic, piece of garbage, evil, demonic, murderer. I mean, did I miss anything? Let me know in the comment section. But hey, Tucker, make sure to apologize. I'm playing this interview not because I like or trust Tucker Carlson, because I don't trust I've never liked Tucker Carlson, his wishy-washy ways. I think he works for the CIA. I think he's full of shit. That's my opinion. But he did a good job in this interview, making Huckabee look like just showing him for what he truly is. And he's a Zionist.
In general, I don't think people should be going immediately to motive, calling each other Nazis or anti-Semites. I said I hate the Christian Zionists. I lost control of myself. Of course, I don't. I've apologized for that. I have problems with my anger. And so I just want to apologize to you since you are a Christian Zionist.
You and I have known each other for over 30 years.
Over 30
There we
years.
go.
That is totally true.
Back when you were in Little Rock. So
yes,
you know,
the newspaper.
Here, let's glaze each other. You know, he's a Christian Zionist, but you can't. Christian Zionists are destroying the United States of America. I don't feel any empathy for any of you. None of you. Zero. If you're insulted by what I say, good. You're corrupt as hell and you're destroying the country. And your lady, ERIKA KIRK, she's a total fraud. And she was part of the assassination team getting rid of her husband. But hey, if you're insulted, good. Be insulted.
That's why I wanted us to have a conversation, talk to each other and not about each other. And I appreciate very much your coming here to.
Of course. And I'm only staying a couple hours, unfortunately, because I kind of shoehorned this in, but I hope that I will be back soon. And I hope that I can come back soon because I actually like, despite what you may hear, I actually like the country. I've been here a lot. And there are a lot of things I love about it. And I want to talk to people in it for like a week.
Good.
And get a better sense of it. So I want to ask you, everyone I've talked to in preparation for this has said the same thing. Jonathan Pollard. I'm just going to throw the name to you and have you explain.
No, I'm glad you asked. You know, interestingly, there's been a lot of things about it. You're the first person who has asked me about it, which I find amazing.
Yeah, he's so glad that you asked about Jonathan Pollard, you know, the spy that was the most damaging spy to America ever, who got 30 years in prison for stealing, you know, military secrets from the United States and giving it to Israel. Then it got into the hands of Russia and China. But he's so glad you asked, right? Right, Huckabee? Fucking clown. You really are a clown.
So I'm glad you did.
Really?
Yeah, the very first
Good.
person.
Well, it's better to hear it.
Sure. I met Jonathan Pollard 2 times. Once I was making a speech in Jerusalem. This has been a few years ago. His wife was still alive at the time. And he was there. And someone introduced me to him and his wife. I said hello to them. That was it. Hi. Nice to meet Esther, his wife. And that was it. I went and made my speech and I left. Later, his wife passed away here in Israel. And I sent him a note and just said, I'm sorry to hear about your wife. I remember meeting her at the hotel and sorry to hear it.
Oh, yeah, let me guess, Huckabee. They were just a Brady Bunch. Such a good couple. I mean, only put every American life in jeopardy, but hey, he's a nice guy, right, Huckabee? I mean, after all, he's from Israel, so he's got to be the best human being on the planet, according to Huckabee. Only the American military, they're the real scum.
He then asked, could he come and see me? He wanted to come and thank me for being kind to him. He came to the embassy. I think we met for maybe 30 minutes. We had a nice, pleasant visit. God. The funny thing was the New York Times reported that it was a secret meeting. Tucker, if you've ever been to the U.S. Embassy, you would know there's no such thing as a secret meeting at the U.S. Embassy.
Sure.
There are cameras everywhere. You walk through.
It was just all innocence. Jonathan Paul, he's such a good man. He would never do anything to the American people. Israel is America's greatest ally. How could you think such a thing?
Marines, you walk through security, you walk through the front office, and there's a dozen or more people that are going to check you out when you come. And before you get there, you're going to have to give us your passport information. You're going to have to be vetted and screened and all of this stuff. So the idea that it was secret was ludicrous. The whole idea is, look, Jonathan Pollard did something that was terribly wrong. He sold secrets. He shouldn't have done it. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison and spent 30, actually was, I think he was sentenced to maybe more than 30 years, but he spent 30 years in prison. Most people convicted of something similar, which was one count, I believe, would have spent 2 to 4, but he spent 30.
Yeah, you see what I mean? You see where I'm going now right now? He makes an excuse for him. He should only got 2 to 4, not 30. He stole the nuclear codes and put every single American's life in danger. And this slop of shit wants you to believe, like, it's not really a big deal. He's a good guy. I liked his wife. We had lunch. Good guy, made a mistake. No big deal. I mean, those codes only got handed over to Russia and China. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, this is your idol right here, you little inbred. Joke. It's just a disgrace. You make me sick.
I don't have a problem with him spending 30 because I think what he did was despicable. I'm not defending anything about what he did. But even people like the former director of the CIA, a number of other senators on the Senate Foreign Relations of the Senate Intel Committee said that he should be allowed to leave and move to Israel if he wanted to. So it, to me, was not as big a deal that I had this basically courtesy meeting. He wanted to thank me for being nice to him when his wife died. That's pretty much the story.
You advocated for his release when you ran for, I remember it, in 2011, long before he had served 30 years. And I agree with you that there are a lot of people languishing in prison, in our country and in this country, and many countries, for longer periods.
You know what, Tucker? You know what, Huckabee? I know you're not men. I know it's very difficult. But when you put the entire population of our country in danger by 2 of our biggest adversaries, you probably should be hung. You probably should be hung in public. That's what probably should happen to you. But hey, poor him. He served too much time. I mean, the entire planet, life was in danger because of his actions. But hey, let's make him a sandwich.
And they deserve. And I think it's a Christian impulse to want to see them free. But
here we go. He's always hiding behind his Christian impulse. Tucker, he can never be too harsh and tell the truth because he always hides behind his faith. Then why are you such a liar, Tucker? Because you lie all the time. You lied for 30 years on Fox News, pushing the Zionist slop, but you're a Christian. Your Christian values. Where were your Christian values on Fox News, Tucker?
this was the greatest traitor in modern American history who sold our battle plans against the Soviet Union, our main enemy in the Cold War, to the Israeli government, which according to our Reagan CIA director, Bill Casey, then gave them to the Soviet Union. So this was the most profound betrayal of the United States in my lifetime. Why advocate for that guy's release before he serves his full sentence?
Sorry about the commercial.
If that were the case in 2011, it would have been because I had a number of friends that suggested that he had more than served time, and he did.
Oh, yeah. He had a number of friends that suggested he should go home. Gee, what friends were those, Huckabee? What friends were those? Oh, let me guess, the Israel First crowd, right, Huckabee? Oh, let me think about it. I don't really know who the friends were. Oh, I'll tell you who they were. They were the Zionists. They were, you know, President Trump's donors and all the lobby and all the pro-Israel First crowd. That's who they were. Fucking clown.
Didn't want to live in the U.S. anymore. He wanted to live in Israel. And but my association with him, again, I had never met him until I met him in Jerusalem at a hotel. That was the first time I had ever encountered him.
I'm friends with 1 million bad people, or I've talked to 1 million bad people.
I'm sitting here with you. Right. I mean, come on.
I mean, Jesus ain't with tax collectors. So I Trust me, do not judge people who are friends.
And Tucker's only bad to them now. Tucker was great for 30, 40 years when he pushed the Zionist cause and the Israel First cause. But the minute for some unknown reason that Tucker decided to have a change of heart and start telling the truth, now he's worse than Adolf Hitler for some reason. Now, why Tucker's doing this is beyond me. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't trust him at all. But hey, better late than never.
Or know or enjoy the company of immoral people, because it's not an endorsement of their immoral behavior. Pollard is different. I think once you become U.S. ambassador, the representative of the president of the United States in the United States of America in a foreign country, and then you invite not only the most damaging betrayer in our lifetimes, but also a guy who continues to advocate for betrayal. So he gave an interview, as I know you know, in 2021 to Israeli media, in which he said, I would encourage Jewish Americans with security clearances to spy for Mossad against their own country, the United States, because, and I'm pretty much quoting him, all Jews should have dual loyalty. That's not repentance. That's not someone who feels bad about what he did. That's someone who's encouraging American Jews to betray their country. That's pretty heavy, don't you think?
Oh, I do. And
that's exactly why dual citizenship should be ended immediately. And if I ever became president of the United States, guess what? If I couldn't pass it as a law, before I even took a sip of water, the first second I sat down as president of the United States, you know what I would do? I'd end dual citizenship immediately. And if I couldn't pass it as a law, as long as I would president, it would stay in place under executive order immediately. And here, let me tell you something. The reason why Mossad can operate on American soil, why do we allow Israeli soldiers who serve in the Israeli military to live on American soil? You don't think they're conducting intelligence on our government, on our citizens? You don't think they're doing intelligence on us? You don't think they're spying on us? You don't think they would carry out orders from Benjamin Netanyahu? Assassinations? You don't think they would groom shooters online? You don't think they're trained in Mossad tactics and Israeli army tactics to spy, to overthrow, to commit assassinations? What the F planet are you all on? People that serve in a foreign military and go back and forth to other countries, that's the country they need to stay in. They shouldn't be here on American soil, nice and comfortable. And anytime somebody calls them out and says, oh, you're an anti-Semite if you don't want them here. You have people in these big time people that are involved in Israeli politics and Israeli government telling Jewish citizens, you should always spy on America. Your loyalty should always be to Israel. You think that some of those soldiers, first of all, I know all of those soldiers are spying or doing some form of intelligence for Israel. And that's why dual citizenship needs to be ended immediately.
Disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think, let's remember, it was President Trump who probably facilitated his departure. And I'm certainly supportive of President Trump. I think you are. And
Pollard's not. He called him a madman after your meeting.
That's why I say Pollard is not, for me, the real issue. It was the fact that
Pollard's not the real issue, according to Huckabee. Wow. The guy stole battle plans, nuclear codes, but Pollard's not the real issue. Trump is. I mean, Trump is pathetic, and he's corrupt, and he's bought and paid for, and he has no spine, and he's weak. And if you got to give up your life for your people, so be it. You know, I know one thing. If I'm president and I get an assassination attempt, I'm not going to fold. I can tell you that right now. If anything, it's going to make me triple down. And when I find out who did it, you're going to pay dearly. You're not going to have me on a dog leash. Oh, okay. You're going to do what we say because we know you're afraid. I want you to picture Benjamin Netanyahu with a dog leash and Trump is on the leash. That's how you need to look at President Trump.
Did something that was despicable. I'm not denying that. Of course he did. And he paid dearly for it, 30 years in prison, and he should have. That's what he should have done. There's no question about that.
But why meet with him in the U.S. Embassy? Your colleagues said they were shocked. They said...
Who were the colleagues that said they were shocked?
Quoted on Background in the New York Times. I think the meeting was in August. This could all be fake. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, the same New York Times said it was a secret meeting. And I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a secret meeting in the U.S. Embassy.
You see why the U.S.
Oh, yeah, Huckabee. Oh, yeah. Pollard's intentions were nothing but holy and good. And he was pushing the Christian-Judeo relationship and America's greatest ally after he just spent, or he knew he was going to steal the nuclear codes or spent time in prison for, selling war plans to our enemies. It was just such a great, wholesome meeting. It was about the Bible and Jesus Christ, right?
ambassador hosting a convicted betrayer of his own country who's encouraging Americans to continue to betray their country would seem shocking.
Well, I would say that it wasn't that you make it sound like I'm hosting a meeting. I simply met with him. I meet with people all the time.
Don't you think, Huckabee, it's a bad optic and you would tell a traitor of the country that you work for, the country that you supposedly love, the flag pin on your lapel? Don't you think you should tell somebody like Jonathan to get effing lost? But no, you didn't. I wonder why. Huckabee. I mean, other than you're a corrupt, lying Zionist.
Walk in without a...
No, they have to have an appointment. Of course they do.
Oh, so it is hosting him then, I think.
Well, I don't know if it was hosting, but it was certainly, he was able to come to the U.S. Embassy to have a meeting at his request. I did. And frankly, I don't regret it. I met with a lot of people.
All right, I got to end it with that because he's just sickening. I'm going to end it with that. He doesn't regret the meeting with Paul. Of course he doesn't. Because he's bought and paid for by Benjamin Netanyahu too. What'd they give you? A home over there, a new car, $1 million in cash? I'm sure you came cheap. I mean, look at you. This is what you have in our government. We got nothing but a bunch of traitors. Trump, J.D. Plant, Marco Rubio. They're pushing Marco Rubio and J.D. Plant. See, Patrick Bet-David, I don't want to go too crazy off topic. Patrick Bet-David claims that he's America first. You can't be America first and push candidates like Marco Rubio in your show. He was doing that last week. Marco Rubio is bought and paid for by the Zionists. If Marco Rubio gets elected or J.D. Vance, it'll be a continuation of Trump. So you can't be America first and push a candidate like Marco Rubio. It's just like our whole government has been infiltrated. The Pentagon, it's nothing but Zionists running around controlling the whole Pentagon for Israel. Our country is not ran by, we voted for Trump and we got Netanyahu. And here, let me tell you something before I forget. I've been, like, the things that I'm saying right now, I've been putting on my X account. And X, they send me this message saying that my account is going to be marked or have some type of, like, title to it because I'm spamming and I'm saying untruthful things. I want to know exactly what I'm saying in this right now, making this video. I've been saying on X. I want to know right now what I've been saying that's not true or what deserves to be censored. Forget if it's true or not. I have a right to say how I feel. I have a right to my opinion. So why the F is X censoring me? TikTok, I made a video on Charlie Kirk that the bullet he was killed with was not a 30-06 or the rifle. And I put the video up, got video instantly removed, got a strike on my channel on TikTok. I made another video similar to that. Israel's controlling the American government. Video gets removed, strike on the channel. Oh, right. Freedom of speech, America's greatest ally. Yeah, as long as you're going along with the Zionist plan of letting Israel control our government, bring us into endless wars, give us endless debt. As long as you're okay with that, you could say whatever you want. But if you have a problem with that, then you're an anti-Semite and, you hate your Jewish friend or you hate your Jewish dentist or my physical therapist, right? Right. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to move on from that because Huckabee absolutely makes me sick. This country right now is not being controlled by President Trump. I voted for Trump. I'm getting Benjamin Netanyahu. Then Benjamin Netanyahu, he goes on TV the other day and he says, he's been saying that Iran's had these nuclear weapons since 1975. Iran, one day away from nuclear weapon. It could hit all of America, Manhattan, Miami, blah, 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 blah. You've been hearing this for 35 years straight, 40 years straight. So he gets on TV and he's smiling with a smile. He's like, We have to take Iran's bombs away because it can hit Mar-a-Lago. And he like smiles. It can hit Manhattan. And of course, he has to mention where the president lives, the last one with a big smirk and smile on his face. I'll tell you, man. It's just sickening. Then Mike Huckabee, the other day, he comes out and he says that Gen Z needs to be reprogrammed. And he's saying that Gen Z needs to be reprogrammed because they're not being good little Zionists. So, of course, Mike Huckabee is blaming Nick Fuentes, and he's blaming YouTubers. It's not his behavior. It's not our government's behavior that is putting our population in debt for, the next 150 years. It's not the American government's fault who are making everything so expensive that young people can't afford homes, they can't start families, they can't do anything because everything's so overpriced. Most young people have no hope for a future. Not everybody can go to college. Not everybody's intelligent enough to go to college. And most young people are down and out on their luck and they feel like they got no hope. But according to Huckabee, they need to be reprogrammed because they're not being good little Zionists and putting Israel first. Let me try to find the clip of that. He said it.
We have not downloaded.
Here we go.
We have not downloaded the proper data, the true data into the minds of younger people. And we've assumed that they're going to grow up intellectually curious and intellectually honest.
According to Mike Huckabee, Trump's U.S. ambassador to Israel, it's just downloading your mind with the correct and true information. That's all they need to do. Listen.
But where does that come from? There's a difference between dumb and ignorant. Dumb is that a person cannot process information. They just don't have the capacity. They don't have an operating system, if I put it in computer language. Ignorance is that the data isn't there. What we're dealing with is not an operating system problem. It's a data problem. We have not downloaded the proper data, the true data into the minds of younger people. And we've assumed that they're going to grow up.
What data is that, Huckabee? Slime bag? Israel first? Is that the data, Huckabee? America last? Debt for America? Debt for Americans? Property tax through the roof? Health insurance through the roof? Because Democrats want us to pay for illegals for everything. So between Israel and illegals, the American taxpayer is just taxed to death. We're taxed to death and we're tired of it. But according to Slimebag here, we all need to be reprogrammed to put Israel before America.
Intellectually curious and intellectually honest, and that they will look for themselves, but they're not. That's the problem. They're not looking. They're taking at face value what some podcaster says, and the result is absolutely dangerous.
All right, you heard it. I don't need to let him talk, but you heard what he said. He doesn't like that some podcaster, and he's probably referring to Nick Fuentes because he has the biggest following. But you know what? You know what's funny about all these Zionists? Not one of them, not one. Ben Shapiro, the face of conservatism, the biggest podcaster in the world. Ben Shapiro, Mr. Conservative himself. He wears the Superman cape. Nobody on his show, Michael Knowles, nobody. Not one of them will sit down with Nick Fuentes and debate the policy. You know why? Because they would get absolutely eaten alive. Because when it comes to policy, there's nothing that Nick Fuentes says that isn't true. But according to Huckabee here, you need to be reprogrammed because you're not being good little Zionists. If you put America first and you don't want to pay for, 90 million illegals in your country, their free stuff, and you want to get out of debt and you don't want to go to war and you want to have a sound border, and the president that you elect, meaning President Trump, should be putting his people first and he should be running the country. If you have a problem, if you are against that, if you have a problem with that, you need to be reprogrammed because Israel should be controlling America. Netanyahu should be running America. America should be in endless wars. We should be losing American soldiers' lives to fight for Israel because according to Bongino, we need to keep them safe. My biggest accomplishment as FBI director was keeping Israel safe. Kash Patel, he's still the head of the FBI. He gets on TV. America needs to wake up and prioritize Israel and put them first. Those are his words, not mine. You don't think we have a problem here? Of course, this will turn into, you hate the Jews. You hate the Jews. That's pretty convenient. Why? Because I want my country to be first? Because I don't want to see other Americans, regardless of race or religion, even other Jewish people, who are in debt for the next 300 years? Because I don't think an outside a country in the Middle East should be controlling our government. I don't think American soldiers' life should be lost on a battlefield fighting a battle that they have no business fighting. And that's another thing. Please do not join the military. If you can get out of the military, get out of the military. You didn't join the military to fight for Israel. You joined the military to fight for America. And right now, I feel for you. It's an honorable thing to do. But right now, you're getting used and you're getting played. So get out of the military. Don't join. Randy Fine. Let me stick with Trump for a minute. Trump agrees to let our food be sprayed with cancer-causing pesticides. The other day, I mean, a lot of people don't even talk about this, but he signed some paperwork with the pharmaceutical company. Who knows that a law that these chemicals can be sprayed on our food. Everybody thinks that we have a gluten problem. You don't have a gluten problem. The problem is the wheat is being sprayed with chemicals. Then you're eating the wheat because it's in everything and you're getting ill and it's making you sick. And like young people's cancer is exploding. You have all these young people with cancer and hormonal issues and thyroid issues and everything. And that's because corrupt politicians like Trump don't give a single shit about you, don't care about your kids, don't care about your family. It's all about money, money, money. Special interest groups, pharmaceutical companies, outside countries, money, money, money. Your Congress, your Senate, your president, your vice president, they have sold you out for their own personal benefit. And these pathetic putzes, they all come cheap. Trump's a billionaire. He took $250 million and thinks that he won. For $250 million, Israel gets to control the United States military and gets billions of dollars for the next 100 years. They laugh at you. They laugh at your weakness. They laugh at Trump, fat, weak, old, corrupt man, scared on top of it. See, the good thing is, if you get elected to politics, like somebody like myself who's struggled heavily, who's had to work a real job, who struggled his entire life, if you pay me $500,000 a year and I have a personal chef and I get a pension, I think their pension is $225,000 a year for the rest of their life. I don't need anything, nothing. And when people come to talk to me and when bills are being put on my desk, you know what the first question I'm going to ask every single time? Every time. How does this benefit my people? How does this benefit Americans? And if it doesn't benefit Americans, you know what I'm going to do with the bill? You know what I'm going to do with the paper? That's what I'm going to do with it. Get the F out of my office. Get out of my sight. You make me sick. That's how I would handle it. But Trump doesn't have the balls anymore because he's a fat, old, corrupt, vile man. And he's afraid on top of it because they try to take his life. You know, big tough guy, fight, 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 right? It's all an act. That's what it is. He's not fighting anymore. When you see Trump, he's not fighting. You can hear it in his voice. He's not fighting anymore. He's defeated. And you can see it in his posture and you can see it in his voice. And he knows it. And they are not stopping at Iran. They are going to take over the entire Middle East. You think they're going to stop with Iran? When they know they got Trump on the ropes and he's weak as hell, they're not stopping at Iran when this thing starts. They're going for the whole cake. They're going for the whole caboodle. But Trump could stop it right now if he wanted to. If Trump got on TV right now, had this much humility and said, I've been wrong, I haven't been putting America first. It changes today. We're not going to war with Iran. We're going to fix our border. We have to get these 55 million. Hey, listen, if you're illegal, you're going to have to fill out the paperwork again. You're going to have to come the right way. We have to vet people. There's a lady in Congress. She was from the CIA. She sat down with Sean Ryan on his show. And she was telling Sean Ryan, like, they know for a fact that there's like 2,000, 3,000 Al-Qaeda soldiers on American soil that have been trained. And they're all waiting for some type of like signal where they're all going to attack in every state and they're not going to stop until they're no longer moving. And this is coming. This is coming. And you know why this is going to happen? Do you know why Joe Biden, Kamala Harris let these people across the border? You want to know why? Because they figure if they let these so-called Muslim terrorists through and they commit an act of violence, and then they think that it'll make the American people support another war in the Middle East. That's why they let them through. So they're willing to slaughter their own people or let us get slaughtered to justify war in the Middle East. Just like Benjamin Netanyahu has done to his own people. He's done it to his own people. What do you think October 7th was? Nobody's getting across that border unless Netanyahu wants to get across the border. So these psychopaths, Al-Qaeda's, ISIS, whatever they are, they're on American soil. They're trained. They're waiting for a signal. They're all going to attack at once in every state. And the reason why our psychotic government allowed this to happen is because they think the American people are dumb and they'll be like, oh, we need to go to war in the Middle East. And that'll give Benjamin Netanyahu exactly what he wants. And if you think they're all involved in it. If you don't think Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel are involved in it, if you don't think the American, they're all involved in it. Just like 9/11. I'm not trying to go there. That's a different video. Oh, we had the Chicago Bears. They decided to leave Chicago. Are you shocked? I mean, Democrats and liberals destroying every single thing they touch. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but you know, you have a multi-billionaire franchise has been there for 40 years. They can't take it anymore. They're getting taxed to death. You leave the stadium with your kids, you get carjacked, you get murdered, you know, after a Bears game. So the Chicago Bears picked up and left. They're leaving Chicago. Go figure. Fat slob Pritzker and the mayor Brandon Johnson. If you put them in charge of of water in the desert, somehow they'd F it up. Two complete, effing morons. That's what they are. They're just complete morons. Randy Fine, he goes on the PBD podcast and he tries to, he went on the PBD podcast the other day and he tries to sound like he's based. He tries to sound like he's in the middle, but he's not. He tried to play it off really good. I'll give it to him. Hold on, Randy Fine. Let me pull it up. They didn't come up. Give me a second. Randy Fine.
Big journeys.
Come on.
Did you ever think? I just don't know what it is.
All right, I'm going to let Randy talk and we'll go from there. But, Randy Fine is like maximum Zionist that you can think of. He's always saying outrageous things. I'm going to let him talk and I'll go from there. So
there's a guy that's connecting me. We're going back and forth. He claims he's the Messiah. He wants me to put him in contact with Elon. Oh, God. This is actually serious. I'm getting Menex from Messiah. And by the way, it's actually a compliment if it is the Messiah. But okay, so that's that. Now, a couple other stories I got here to go through as well. Hyatt Chairman Pritzker leaves board over Epstein ties. Holy shit. Washington Senate okays income tax on millionaires. Fantastic. We haven't responded to MAMDANI doing a phenomenal job pushing people out of New York City. I hope he succeeds. I hope he crushes it. All the people that are now upset coming out, there's a video that Vinny's got saying, you ain't going to raise taxes on our property. You voted for this guy. Yep. What do you think he was going to do to you? Vinny, one thing about Vinny that I love, he's becoming a great example to it.
Oh, listen to this. So lately, PBD, and I don't trust Patrick Bet-David at all for a lot of different reasons. I've said this routinely. But lately, Patrick Bet-David has been constantly complimenting Vinny about his faith and Christianity. And what I think he's doing is he's setting the stage for Adam Sosnick to finally come to his Jesus moment, because Adam Sosnick's been getting absolutely destroyed in the comment section. People have been stopped watching the show because of Adam Sosnick, and he's losing a lot of viewership, PBD. So I anticipate this in the next coming weeks, couple months. All of a sudden, you're going to hear Adam Sosnick say, I was inspired by Vinny, and now I'm a Christian, and I came to Christ. And, he's always trying to reinvent himself. Now he's a big Trumper after he was criticizing Trump for years. And the only reason why he's a Trumper now is because Trump is controlled by Israel. We all know that. So now he's changed his whole tune. But I'm telling you, you're going to see in the next coming weeks that Adam is, he's going to say that Vinny inspired him to come to Christ. You mark my words.
Everybody around here, and that includes myself. I'm so proud of Vinny. Yesterday, we're having dinner with two of our friends, Brian and Tom, who were there with us, and we had dinner. You saw them earlier. You were speaking to them. And he says, how'd you guys meet Vinny? And I started telling the story about Vinny, where he went to, where he's at right now. Life-changing what this man has turned into. Vinny, share with us what you got going on.
Pat, I love you, and thank you. God literally saved me, and I'm here now because God, the story was, saw Pat on Instagram, clicked on it, saw that he was a Syrian. I just lost 2 friends to fentanyl poisoning, not overdose because they didn't. And God got me to where I am right now. And for you guys that know, my biggest thing is faith over fear and having faith in Jesus Christ. Last week, James Vanderbeek had that message where he said, I was facing death nose to nose, and he looked so comfortable and so happy. We forgot that, I don't know if you guys remember, on February 15th was the anniversary of 2015 when the ISIS soldiers, whatever, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, were in Libya, and they captured 20 Christian construction workers, put them down. Rob has a photo in orange jumpsuits, put knives to their heads, and they said, if you guys right now convert to Islam, we won't behead you. And these 20, I knew this was going to happen, 20 construction workers said, this is what they said. They said, no, I love you, Jesus Christ. And they cut all their heads off. I know I talk about faith over fear. That right there is, these are construction workers, Pat. They're not priests. They're not the Pope. These are just regular guys that all sat there, hands tied behind their back, and they said, nope, we believe in Jesus Christ. That is the epitome of faith over fear. God bless them. God rest their souls. And that is it. Because Jesus said, by the way, John chapter 14:6 said what, Tom? I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. Nobody gets to me except through the Father, except through me, through Jesus Christ. Period.
Absolutely. People, they were in fear at that time. There was early persecution going on. If you were a Jewish person at that time and you were now listening to Jesus, the Jewish leaders of the time were like, this rabbi here is a heretic. He's saying things that are way out of bounds, and persecution started, and they were scared. They were scared. And that same passage where he says, I am the way, we love.
All right, I'm trying to fast forward a little bit, but hold on. Patrick Bet David asks Randy Fine about the I would take a dog over a Muslim comment. So I'm trying to go there.
Randy.
Yep.
Here we go.
Tweet with Rob, if you can pull out one of the tweets. Let's kind of go through it. I really, I see this tweet that's been going viral the last few days. If they force us to choose between dogs and Muslims, would you say if they choose between the choice between dogs and Muslim is not a difficult one? Okay, got 45 million views. Do you really believe this, or are you rage baiting?
I think the answer is neither. And
I think they're taking this out of context because I was talking about this before. ZOHRAN MAMDANI wants to get rid of your pet in New York. And if he told me, well, you're hurting my feelings, this is against my culture, it's pick your dog or me, I'd pick the dog every single time. If you don't like dogs, if you don't like Christmas trees, if you don't like our customs and our culture here, you're free to leave. Get out. That's my opinion. I'm sick of both sides. Sick of both of them.
I think that you've got to understand. Thanks for having me, by the way. I live in fear of what is to come. And I actually think the story you just told is what drives me. I live in fear of a world where we are told that we have to live in a way different than we want. It used to be if you came to the United States, you integrated with our values.
You know what's ironic about that, Randy Fine? You're like, oh, I don't want to live in a way different. All your buddies, your rich Zionist buddies, are censoring they're buying up all the media. And if you have something negative to say about Israel, or you don't believe in Zionism, you're getting canceled, you're losing your job, Your accounts are getting strikes on it. So that's living. You can't just blame it on the Muslims when you're doing the same type of shady garbage that you're doing, Randy Fine. And don't tell me that you're not doing it. Look what's going on TikTok, Warner Brothers. I can go on and on. X, Facebook. It's all being censored. And who is censoring it? Your Zionist buddies. So you're not much better, Randy Fine.
You love this country, and you said you wanted to be part of it. And we've had this issue in recent times where people are coming here, and now they're demanding that we change how we live. I was responding to a post by a MAMDANI advisor, and obviously we've seen craziness happen in New York since he was elected, who posted, finally, and I'm not going to read it, but it's basically, it says, finally, New York City is coming to Islam. Dogs are unclean. They should not be indoor pets. Now, people don't know this, and I'm not criticizing Islam for this. They don't like dogs.
I am criticizing Islam for it. I'm not like Randy Fine. I'm not a coward and a worm. And I'll stand behind my words. I am criticizing you for not liking dogs. And I don't give a shit if you think they're unclean. And if they live in my house, my dogs, and they sleep in my bed, and I kiss them, it's none of your fucking business. How's that? And if you don't like it, if you don't like this American way of life, you're free to go home. That's my thoughts, and I'm entitled to it. And like I said before, ZOHRAN, if you want to start at somebody's house to remove dogs, get in my inbox. I'll send you my address. We can go from there.
I'm Jewish. We don't eat shrimp. I mean, different religions believe different things. The problem is that they want to compel us to live in a way that we do not want to live. And so my post was very simple. It said, if you make us choose, if the Mamdanis of the world make us choose between having our pets and having them live near us who have come to this country and don't want us to have our pets, they can go home. Now, I told you.
For once, I'll agree with Randy Fine. I agree with him completely. He's being nice about it. I'm not going to be nice about it. I love my dog. And yes, if you said it's between my dog or a Muslim, I'm taking my dog. If you're offended, I don't care. Over it.
I am afraid about the future of the country. I'm not afraid to be blunt. And I also know how to start a conversation. And that is what this did. It got people talking. What's extraordinary is people aren't talking about what's going on in New York. People weren't talking about comments like this. People weren't talking about the call to prayer now being broadcast at 5 o'clock in the morning in New York. People weren't talking about the kinds of people he is putting into office. People aren't talking about what is to come.
And that's why I always say President Trump needs to make a law that if you're foreign born, you can't hold any office in America. See, I believe that also Trump wants MAMDANI to get elected. I believe they wanted MAMDANI to get elected. You know why? Because they know he's a radical. They know how insane he is. And they know the American public can't stand him for the most part. And then they'll just brainwash you. This is why we need to go in the war in Middle East. Look what ZOHRAN is doing in Manhattan. If you don't want that here, we need to go to war, war, war. Meanwhile, when you go to war in the Middle East and you bomb their homelands for Israel, Israel turns around and says, well, they can't live here with us. And then they relocate them here to America. It's just a con job. It's a con game. That's all it is.
Come. Now they are talking, and I think that's an important conversation to have because we're America. We love our dogs, and no one's going to tell us that we can't have them.
So what was she talking about? What is she saying, this lady right here? What is she referencing?
In Islam, they don't like dogs. Dogs are not halal. They are haram. Muslims generally don't have dogs as pets. They don't like.
Nerdine, F off. That's all I can tell you. F off. The ZOHRANs, the Ilans, the Nerdines. I don't care what your effing problem is. I don't care what your customs are. I don't care what your culture is about. This is the problem with Islam. They don't want to coexist. They want to dominate, and they want everybody to live how they live. And that's my problem with you. What you do in your home is your business. How you walk down the street, what you wear is your business. If I want to have 9 dogs in my house, again, it's none of your fucking business.
Like them, and I'm not criticizing it. This is just a simple fact. Hindus.
What do you mean you're not criticizing it, Randy Fine? What do you mean you're not criticizing it? That's the problem. Oh, well, I'm not criticizing it. I'm a fat slob. I'm not criticizing. I don't really want to take a side. I'm going to use it to get my point across, but I'm not that's the problem with today's politicians. He's the perfect example of what's wrong with today. Fat, sloppy, weak. I'm not going to stand behind my words. Oh, I'm not criticizing. I'm criticizing it. And this is why I got a problem with Islam. My dog and the way I want to dress and Christmas trees and the way I want to live is none of your fucking business.
Like cows. Jews don't like pork. It's just part of the faith. And she is saying, and she's an important Muslim leader in New York, and she is saying something very clear. If it's up to me, we're getting rid of your dogs as pets. 65% of American households own a dog. And if you want to come to this country and be a part of America as all of us did, that's great. But you don't get to move here and then demand that we change how we live. And this is crazy. The Democrats.
Randy, fine. Zionists do the same thing. So don't play Mr. Innocent. You do the same exact thing, but you do it in a sneakier way. So just stop. You're not that much better. At least the Muslims, they tell you openly. They don't hide what they're trying to do. I'll give them credit for one thing. You and your buddies, guess what? It's all sneak attacks, false flags, trying to make it look like one group when it's really another, playing the victim all the time. The only bully and the only threat to the world right now is Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel because they're totally out of control and they're using the United States military to conquer the world.
Have said for a long time, if you won't let anybody who wants come to America for any reason, you're a racist. Then it was, if you don't let anybody who wants to come to America and have all the free stuff they want, free housing, free food, free healthcare, you're a racist. Now what they're saying is if we won't change how we live to accommodate newcomers who don't like dogs, you're a racist. And
Randy, fine. You and your buddies, they say that anybody that doesn't agree with Zionism is anti-Semite and hates Jewish people. You're not that much better. And you keep changing the definition of Zionism. Nobody said that Israel doesn't have a right to exist. Nobody said that Jewish people can't have their own land. Nobody's saying wipe Israel off the planet. That's not a Zionist means Zionism means Israel before everything. That's what that means. And you know that's what that means. So you're not much better.
I would last say this. I have been criticized by dozens and dozens and dozens of Democrats for what I said. Not one of them has said, I disagree with the way you phrased it, but in America, I'm going to make sure you have the right to own a dog.
All right, I'm going to end it with that. I wanted to show you the dog thing. Well, Randy, you know how Democrats operate. You know, you're in politics. You know how they operate. Of course, they were going to interpret that way because that's how they stir up their base. And I agree with Randy Fine. I usually don't agree with anything that he said. But I'll say it for you, Randy Fine. And you're like, oh, I'm not criticizing. Well, I am criticizing Islam. I do have a problem with Islam. Your ways are not compatible with America and Europe. We like dogs here. If you don't like dogs, then don't come here. If you're relocated here, fine. I feel for you. You didn't want to come here. I get it. But guess what? This is our country. If you don't like a dog, hey, that's your opinion. You don't have to like dogs. But now you want to get rid of everybody's dog? Now you want to get rid of liquor everywhere? No corner stores can have a liquor store? You want to get rid of lotto? Who the F do you think you are? And I will criticize you. And again, if you want to start with pets, start at my home. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to leave it at that. That's the problem. They don't want to coexist with anybody. They want everybody to live how they live. And that's my problem with them. And I am criticizing I am criticizing Islam. That's my biggest problem with you. In America, we let people live how they want. As long as they're not hurting anybody, as long as they're not hurting children, however you want to live, that's your business. If I want to have 19 dogs in my house, guess what? None of your fucking business. So ZOHRAN MAMDANI, he's taking a lot of heat too because in Manhattan, you know, the blizzard that's going on, you got to show like 5 forms of ID to shovel snow. How ironic, right? You got to have 3 to 5 IDs in New York to shovel snow. But to vote, you don't have to have an ID to vote, but to shovel snow, you got to have 5 forms of ID. Oh, Democrats, you just make me sick. You really you just make me sick. You have no integrity at all. You got to have an ID in this country to do every single thing. You got to have ID for everything. But hey, when it comes to voting, no ID. And why would Democrats want that? You know why they want that? because they plan to cheat. That's why. You know why Democrats want illegal aliens in every state, 900,000 of them, 1 million of them in every state? Because if they can get them, if they can pass laws where they can vote, Republicans will never win another election ever again in the history of our elections. Democrats want to replace Americans' votes with illegals. Bottom line. You could phrase it however you want. You could try to be nice about it. I'm not going to do that. Democrats want to replace Americans' votes, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, because they know they can't control your vote all the time. This is the plan. We'll put as many illegals in every state as possible. We'll give them free stuff. And the party that gives them the free shit, that's who they'll vote for. That's Democrats' plan. That's their strategy. That's their policy. If you don't like it, too bad. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, this will be the last thing I talk about. Ghislaine Maxwell. You think she's in prison? Ghislaine Maxwell's not in prison. Ghislaine Maxwell sighting. Ghislaine Maxwell was seen in Canada. Just like Jeffrey Epstein is in Tel Aviv right now. Here she is.
Do I know you? You're not Keelan?
Hold on, I gotta.
Sorry. No.
Hold on.
I used to order hello pizza.
Oh, really?
She always delivered, yeah.
These elites, they're just rubbing it right in our face. And the guy next to Ghislaine Maxwell is her brother. Jeffrey Epstein is not dead. He's in Tel Aviv. We've seen the videos and the photos of him. This guy goes up to Ghislaine Maxwell in the street, calls her, he says, Ghislaine. She turns around immediately with a big smile on her face. The pictures in the video they showed the other day of Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, the lady in the video has got like a short, pudgy, fat nose. Ghislaine Maxwell's got like a long, thin nose, different lips. This is Ghislaine Maxwell walking the streets. She is not in prison. All right, hold on. I'm playing it. There you go. Hold on. It's going to play from the beginning.
Do I know you? You're not Keelan?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order hello pizza off of her.
Oh, really?
She always delivered, yeah.
There you go.
Do I know you?
Oh, let me guess. That's not Ghislaine Maxwell, right? Just like it's not Jeffrey Epstein in Tel Aviv. She's never been in prison. Just like Jeffrey Epstein, he was never in prison either. They took him out. They said he killed him. He didn't kill himself. They're both alive. Trump knows they're alive. The entire government knows they're alive. This is how they take care of people that eat children, have sex with 5-year-olds, put them in acid, sex trafficking, human trafficking. This is how they treat them. And why? Why are they getting special treatment? What country do they come from? What government did Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein work for? They worked for the Israeli government. And that's why they are walking the streets free with millions and millions of dollars in their pockets, making a joke out of all of us. And I'm going to end it with that. Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable with Chris Chalmasiros.